Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Science. Tonight, something unusual might happen while you sleep. In the middle of a dream, you might suddenly realize that the world around you isn't real. You're still asleep, yet your mind becomes aware that you're dreaming. At that moment, the dream can stop being random and start responding to your thoughts. Scientists call this state lucid dreaming, and it's one of the strangest abilities of the human brain, where consciousness wakes up, but the body remains completely asleep. The question is, how does the brain create this moment of awareness inside a dream? Every night, something unusual happens in your mind. You close your eyes, your body relaxes, and soon you enter a world that feels completely real. In that world you can walk, talk, meet people, and visit places that do not exist in the physical world. You may see cities, forests, oceans, or strange situations that make perfect sense at the time. Yet none of it is actually happening outside your body. It is all being created inside your brain. This raises a very interesting question. If your eyes are closed and your body is lying still in bed, how does the brain manage to build an entire world that feels so real? Scientists have been studying this question for many years. They now know that dreams are not random pictures. They are complex experiences created by different parts of the brain working together. Memory, imagination, emotions, and visual processing all become active at the same time. But this is only the beginning of the mystery, because dreams become even more interesting once we look at when they actually happen during sleep. To understand dreams better, scientists began studying sleeping brains in laboratories. They placed small sensors on people's heads to measure brain activity during the night. What they discovered was surprising. Sleep is not one long, quiet state. Instead, it moves through different stages again and again during the night. One of these stages is called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. During this stage, a person's eyes move quickly under their closed eyelids. At the same time, the brain suddenly becomes very active. In fact, brain scans show that activity during REM sleep can look very similar to when a person is awake. This is why most vivid dreams happen during this stage. The brain is highly active, but the person is still asleep. REM sleep usually begins about 90 minutes after falling asleep and returns several times during the night. Each REM period often becomes longer toward the morning. This means many of the dreams people remember actually happen closer to the time they wake up. But there is another strange thing happening during REM sleep that many people do not realize. While the brain becomes very active, the body does the opposite. The brain sends signals down the spinal cord that temporarily relax most of the body's muscles. This creates a natural form of paralysis during sleep. Your arms and legs cannot move the way they normally do when you are awake. Scientists believe this is a safety system built into the brain. Imagine if your body could move freely while you were dreaming. If you dreamed about running, jumping, or fighting, your body might try to perform those actions in real life. That could be dangerous. The temporary muscle paralysis prevents this from happening. Your brain can create any dream scenario it wants, but your body stays safely in bed. Most people never notice this paralysis because it disappears the moment they wake up, but it plays a very important role in keeping sleepers safe throughout the night. Even though the body stays still during REM sleep, the brain is extremely busy creating detailed scenes. One area that becomes very active is the visual cortex. This is the part of the brain responsible for processing images when we are awake and looking at the world. During dreams, this same area begins producing images without any input from the eyes. In other words, the brain starts generating its own pictures from memory and imagination. That is why dream environments can feel surprisingly real. You might see buildings, landscapes, animals, or people with clear shapes and colors. Sometimes dreams even include movement, lighting, and depth similar to real life. Your brain is essentially acting like a movie studio, creating a full visual experience while your eyes remain closed. And this raises another interesting thought. If the brain can create such realistic worlds on its own during sleep, what happens when awareness suddenly appears inside that dream world? That question leads directly to the strange experience known as lucid dreaming. While all this activity is happening in the brain during REM sleep, something else changes as well. The brain begins to release certain chemicals that affect how we think. One important effect is that logical thinking becomes weaker. The parts of the brain that normally check if something makes sense are less active. Because of this, very strange things in dreams often feel completely normal at the time. For example, you might see a person suddenly change into someone else. You might find yourself in a place that quickly turns into a different location. Sometimes people fly, walk through walls, or speak with someone who is no longer alive. When you wake up, these situations sound impossible. But during the dream, your brain does not question them. The brain is focused more on creating images and emotions than on checking reality. This chemical change helps explain why dream stories can be so unusual. And it also leads to another interesting question about why we rarely notice we are dreaming. Because logical thinking is reduced during dreams, most people simply accept whatever is happening around them. The brain does not stop to ask important questions. In waking life, your mind constantly checks your surroundings. If something strange happens, you usually notice it right away. But inside a dream, that checking system is much weaker. This is why people rarely stop and ask, is this real or am I dreaming? Even when dream events become extremely unusual, the mind still goes along with the story. Someone may suddenly appear in a different city, or meet a person they have not seen in many years. The dream continues without any doubt. Scientists believe this happens because the brain areas responsible for critical thinking are still resting during REM sleep. Without those areas working normally, the mind does not analyze the situation carefully. But every once in a while, something different happens in the brain that changes this pattern completely. Although logical thinking is usually reduced during dreams, the brain does not stay in exactly the same state the entire time. Brain activity can shift slightly from moment to moment. Sometimes, for a short period, certain parts of the brain become more active again. One of these areas is the prefrontal cortex, which plays a key role in self-awareness and decision-making. This region helps us understand our own thoughts and recognize what is happening around us. When this area briefly becomes active during a dream, something unusual can occur. The dreamer begins to think more clearly than before. Instead of simply following the dream story, the mind starts observing it. Small details may suddenly stand out. Something in the environment may seem odd or impossible. That moment of increased awareness can change the entire experience. The dream is still happening, but now the brain begins to examine it more carefully. And that can lead to a very surprising realization. When self-awareness suddenly appears during a dream, the dreamer may notice something that does not make sense. It might be a clock showing strange numbers. It might be a place that keeps changing shape. Or it might simply be a strong feeling that something about the situation is not real. At that moment, a new thought forms in the mind. The person realizes that the world around them is actually part of a dream. This realization can feel very surprising because the dream still looks and feels realistic. The body is asleep in bed, but the mind inside the dream is now awake and aware. Scientists call this moment lucidity. It is the point when a normal dream turns into a lucid dream. The dream environment continues to exist, but the dreamer now understands what is happening. And once that awareness appears, the experience of dreaming can become very different from an ordinary dream. In the early 1900s, dreams were still a big mystery to scientists. Many people talked about strange dream experiences, but very few researchers had studied them carefully. One person who became very interested in dreams was the Dutch psychiatrist Frederik van Eeden. In 1913, he wrote about a special type of dream that he had experienced many times himself. In these dreams, he realized that he was dreaming while the dream was still happening. At that time, this idea sounded unusual because most people believed dreams were completely unconscious experiences. Van Eeden carefully recorded his own dreams and studied how they felt different from normal dreams. He noticed that in these special dreams, he could think clearly and observe the dream world at the same time. To describe this experience, he introduced a new scientific term, lucid dreaming. His work became one of the first serious attempts to explain this strange state of awareness during sleep. And his idea later inspired many scientists to study dreams in much greater detail. When Frederik van Eeden chose the word lucid, he selected it very carefully. The word lucid means clear, aware, and easy to understand. In normal dreams, thinking is often confused and unorganized. Events happen quickly, and the dreamer usually follows the story without questioning it. But in the dreams Van Eeden described, the situation was very different. The dreamer suddenly had a clear understanding of what was happening. Even though the dream world was still visible and realistic, the person knew that their physical body was asleep. This created a very unusual mental state. The brain was still producing a dream, but the mind inside that dream was fully aware of it. In other words, the dreamer was both a participant and an observer at the same time. That is why the word lucid became the perfect description. It explained that the dreamer's awareness was clear, even while the dream continued. As scientists continued studying dreams over the years, they began asking people about their experiences. Large surveys were conducted in many different countries. Researchers asked a simple question: have you ever realized you were dreaming while the dream was still happening? The results were surprising. Around 50 to 60% of people reported that they had experienced this at least once in their lives. This means more than half of the population has had a lucid dream at some point. Many people remember it very clearly because the experience feels unusual and exciting. Some say they suddenly noticed something strange in the dream. Others say they simply had a strong feeling that the situation was not real. Even if the lucid moment lasted only a short time, it often stayed in their memory for years. But this discovery also raised another interesting question. If lucid dreams are possible for many people, why don't they happen more often? Although many people experience at least one lucid dream during their life, having them regularly is much less common. Studies suggest that only a small group of people have lucid dreams frequently. Some may experience them once every few months, while others might have them only once in several years. There are several reasons for this difference. One reason is that lucid dreaming requires a rare combination of brain activity. The brain must stay in deep dream sleep, while certain awareness areas briefly become active. This balance does not happen often by accident. Another reason is that most people lose the lucid state very quickly. The moment they realize they are dreaming, they may become excited or wake up. Because of this, the experience can end within seconds. However, researchers have discovered that some people can learn techniques to increase their chances of having lucid dreams. And this idea has made lucid dreaming even more interesting for scientists and dream researchers. The moment when a normal dream turns into a lucid dream often begins in a very simple way. The dreamer suddenly notices something that should not be possible in real life. At first, it may seem like a small detail. Maybe the environment changes too quickly. Maybe a person appears in a place where they should not be. These unusual moments can trigger a new thought in the mind. The brain begins to question the situation instead of simply accepting it. This is important because questioning reality is usually very weak during dreams. When the mind finally pauses and asks, "Does this make sense?" awareness can start to grow. Scientists believe this is the key moment when lucidity begins. The brain shifts from simply experiencing the dream to examining it. That tiny moment of curiosity can change everything. The dream world still exists, but now the dreamer is looking at it differently. And once the mind starts looking for strange details, even more unusual things may appear. One of the most common strange details people notice in dreams involves clocks. Time behaves normally in the real world. When you look at a clock, the numbers stay the same unless time actually passes. But inside dreams, the brain does not always create stable numbers. A person may look at a clock and see a normal time. Then they look away for a moment and check again. Suddenly, the numbers have completely changed. Sometimes the digits appear blurry, broken, or impossible to read. Other times the clock shows a time that makes no sense at all. This happens because the brain areas responsible for detailed reading and number recognition are not fully active during REM sleep. When the dreamer notices this strange behavior, it can trigger an important thought. If the clock cannot stay consistent, something about the situation must be unusual. For many lucid dreamers, noticing a strange clock is the first clue that they might be dreaming. Another common sign that people notice in dreams involves written text. In normal life, words stay the same when you read them. If you look at a sentence, the letters do not suddenly rearrange themselves. But during dreams, the brain often struggles to keep written language stable. A person might read a sign, a message, or a book. At first the words may appear normal, but if they look away and read the same text again, the words can change. Sometimes entire sentences become different. Other times the letters look strange or impossible to understand. This happens because the brain is focusing more on images and emotions than on careful language processing. When the dreamer notices this change, it can create a moment of curiosity. The mind begins to question the environment. If written text cannot stay the same, something unusual must be happening. That realization can bring the dreamer closer to understanding that the experience is actually a dream. Gravity can also behave in very unusual ways inside dreams. In the real world, gravity always pulls objects toward the ground with the same steady force. People cannot float or move through the air without support. But in dreams, this rule often becomes flexible. A person may jump and remain in the air longer than expected. They may float slowly down instead of falling quickly. In some dreams, people even begin flying without any effort. This strange movement happens because the brain's balance system works differently during REM sleep. The inner ear and body signals that normally control movement are mostly inactive. Because of this, the brain has more freedom when creating motion in the dream world. When a dreamer notices this strange behavior, it can feel surprising. Jumping higher than normal or floating gently through the air may trigger an important thought. If gravity is not working the way it should, the mind may begin to suspect that the entire experience is a dream. When strange details appear in a dream, they can create a small moment of doubt in the mind. The dreamer may pause and notice that something does not follow the normal rules of the real world. A clock may change numbers. Words on a sign may look different every time they are read. Gravity may feel weak or unusual. At first, the mind may ignore these details, but sometimes curiosity grows stronger. The dreamer begins to think more carefully about the situation. A simple question may appear: could this be a dream? That single thought is very powerful. It changes how the brain looks at the entire environment. Instead of simply following the dream story, the mind begins examining it. This shift from passive experience to active thinking is the start of lucidity. Scientists believe this moment happens when awareness becomes stronger inside the dream. Once the mind seriously considers the possibility of dreaming, the entire experience can begin to change in surprising ways. When the brain accepts the idea that the experience is a dream, something interesting often happens next. The dream environment can begin to respond to the dreamer's expectations. In a normal dream, events usually follow a story that the brain creates automatically. The dreamer mostly watches or reacts to what is happening. But after lucidity begins, the mind sometimes realizes that the rules of the dream world are flexible. If the dreamer expects something to change, it may actually happen. For example, a person might imagine a door leading to a new location. When they open it, the dream may create that place instantly. Some dreamers discover they can move quickly through the environment or even fly. This does not happen because the body is moving. The physical body is still asleep in bed. Instead, the brain is adjusting the dream scene based on thoughts and expectations. This ability makes lucid dreaming feel very different from ordinary dreams. Scientists became very interested in lucid dreaming because it shows a unique pattern of brain activity. When researchers studied sleeping brains with special scanning machines, they noticed something unusual during lucid dreams. A specific area of the brain suddenly became more active. This region is called the prefrontal cortex. It sits near the front part of the brain and plays a major role in self-awareness and decision-making. This is the same area that helps people think logically and understand their own thoughts when they are awake. When the prefrontal cortex becomes active during a dream, the mind gains the ability to observe what is happening. Instead of simply experiencing the dream story, the dreamer can think about it. They may ask questions or make choices about what to do next. This is one reason lucid dreaming feels so different from normal dreams. The brain is combining deep sleep with a level of awareness usually found during waking life. What makes this discovery even more interesting is that the prefrontal cortex usually stays quiet during normal dreams. During regular REM sleep, the brain focuses more on emotions, images, and memories. Areas responsible for logic and careful reasoning become less active. That is why strange dream events often feel completely normal while they are happening. The mind does not analyze the situation the same way it does during waking life. Scientists believe this reduced activity helps the brain process memories and emotions without interruption. However, during a lucid dream, the situation changes slightly. The prefrontal cortex becomes active again for a short time. This allows the dreamer to think more clearly while still remaining asleep. It is a rare combination of two different brain states. The body remains in deep sleep, but the mind gains a level of awareness that normally belongs to waking consciousness. This unusual balance is what makes lucid dreaming such a fascinating experience for researchers. When someone becomes aware they are dreaming, the brain enters a very unusual state. It is neither fully awake nor fully asleep. Scientists call this a hybrid state because it combines elements of both consciousness and sleep. Parts of the brain that usually rest during normal dreams become active again, allowing the dreamer to think clearly. At the same time, areas responsible for generating images, sounds, and sensations continue their work automatically. This hybrid state is rare because it requires the brain to maintain a delicate balance. Too much activity and the person might wake up. Too little and awareness does not appear. In this unique state, the mind experiences both freedom and structure. The dreamer can notice the unreal details of the dream, but the dream still feels real. This combination creates the fascinating experience of lucid dreaming, where the brain manages two modes of thinking at the same time. It is a state that cannot happen during normal sleep or waking life alone. Because the brain is partially awake in a lucid dream, dreamers can think clearly about what is happening around them. Unlike normal dreams, they can plan, make choices, or even solve simple problems while still asleep. For example, someone may decide to fly, explore a building, or talk to a dream character. They can test the rules of the dream world because their thinking is sharper than in ordinary dreams. This ability makes lucid dreams feel very different from regular dreams. The dreamer is not just experiencing random events, they are interacting with them consciously. Some people even use lucid dreams to practice skills, solve puzzles, or rehearse situations they face in real life. The brain is capable of reasoning, judging, and remembering during this state, which shows how flexible human consciousness can be. Lucid dreaming reveals that the mind can observe itself while still in a deeply creative and imaginative state. Even though dreamers in a lucid state can think clearly, the dream world around them is still being created automatically. The brain continues to generate images, sounds, people, and places without conscious effort. A forest may appear suddenly, a building might grow instantly, or a person might seem to materialize from nowhere. The dreamer can interact with these elements, but the environment itself is still produced by automatic brain processes. This means lucid dreaming is a mix of conscious thought and subconscious creation. The dreamer can influence certain details, but the brain continues to supply new events, characters, and scenery. The dream feels real because the brain maintains the normal flow of sensations, movements, and changes. Even with awareness, the dreamer is part of a larger simulation created by the mind. The hybrid state allows them to explore a world that is both self-generated and responsive to conscious choices. Scientists describe this phenomenon as consciousness observing its own simulation. In other words, the mind is watching a world that it is simultaneously creating. The brain is generating images, events, and emotions automatically, while the dreamer's awareness can notice and interact with them. It is similar to playing a video game while also being the programmer. The dreamer experiences both the world and the control behind it. This creates a fascinating feedback loop between imagination and thought. While most dreams are simply experienced, lucid dreaming allows the mind to reflect, plan, and experiment within the dream itself. Researchers find this unique state remarkable because it shows that consciousness is not limited to waking life. The mind can become self-aware even while in the creative, automatic processes of deep sleep, revealing extraordinary possibilities about how the human brain functions. Lucid dreaming can be compared to a very unique kind of experience. It is essentially the brain watching a movie that it is also directing. The dreamer observes everything that happens, but at the same time, the brain continues to produce images, events, and characters automatically. This creates a situation where the dream feels real, yet the dreamer has some level of control. For example, they may choose to walk down a street, fly through the air, or explore a new environment. Even though the dream world is flexible, it is still shaped by the subconscious mind. The brain is both the actor and the director of this experience. This dual role makes lucid dreams so fascinating. It also explains why dreams can sometimes feel more vivid than real life. The mind is fully immersed in its own creation, while maintaining a level of awareness, producing a surreal but understandable experience that is rarely possible in waking life. For many people, the first moment of lucidity is accompanied by a strong feeling of excitement. Suddenly realizing that you are dreaming can feel thrilling. The dreamer may feel the urge to jump, fly, or try something impossible right away. However, this excitement can cause a problem. In many cases, the intense emotion wakes the person up, ending the lucid dream almost as soon as it begins. This is one reason why many lucid dreams are short. People report that the initial rush of joy, curiosity, or surprise can interfere with the dream state. The brain suddenly shifts from the hybrid state back toward full wakefulness. Understanding this reaction is important for anyone trying to maintain lucidity. Scientists and experienced dreamers agree that managing these emotions is crucial to exploring a lucid dream more fully. Learning to stay calm is a key skill that allows the dream to continue for longer periods without interruption. Staying calm during a lucid dream is essential to keep the dream from fading. When the dreamer becomes too excited, the brain may wake up, or the dream environment may start to blur. One effective method to maintain stability is focusing on simple actions within the dream. For example, slow breathing, observing details in the environment, or touching objects can help. These small actions give the mind something to focus on, which reduces the risk of losing lucidity. Some people find that repeating a mental phrase like, "I am dreaming," helps reinforce awareness while calming the body. Remaining relaxed allows the dreamer to interact more fully with the dream world. Calmness also improves memory of the dream, making it easier to recall later. Over time, practicing these techniques allows dreamers to have longer and more controlled lucid experiences without accidentally waking up. Experienced lucid dreamers often use practical methods to stabilize their dreams. One common technique is interacting with objects in the dream environment. For instance, a dreamer may touch a wall, pick up a cup, or run their hands over a table. These actions create sensory feedback for the brain, helping it maintain the illusion of reality. Focusing on textures, colors, and shapes strengthens the connection between the conscious mind and the dream world. Other stabilizing actions include spinning in place, rubbing the hands together, or carefully walking around. These movements give the brain more information to keep the dream vivid and consistent. Dreamers report that these techniques can prevent the dream from collapsing or disappearing suddenly. The mind continues to create the dream, while awareness remains strong. With practice, these methods allow lucid dreamers to explore their dreams for longer periods, controlling the environment while remaining fully conscious within it. One of the most important ways to keep a lucid dream going is to engage the senses. The brain continues to create the dream automatically, but focusing on what you can see, hear, touch, or even smell helps the mind stay connected to the experience. For example, looking closely at objects, listening to sounds, or feeling textures inside the dream sends signals to the brain that reinforce the reality of the dream world. This is similar to how attention works when you are awake. When you actively notice details, your mind treats the experience as important. In lucid dreams, this sensory focus can prevent the dream from fading too quickly. It also allows the dreamer to explore the environment more fully. By using all senses, the brain continues to produce the dream while the conscious mind stays aware. Over time, this makes it possible to extend the length of lucid dreams and interact with the dream world more deeply without losing awareness. Some lucid dreamers have discovered practical actions that help maintain stability. Spinning in circles or rubbing the hands together are common techniques. These movements may seem strange, but they work because the brain responds to physical and imagined activity. In dreams, focusing on motion or touch strengthens the connection between consciousness and the dream world. Spinning can create a sense of balance and presence, helping the mind remain aware while the dream continues. Rubbing the hands together allows the dreamer to feel textures and sensations, which reminds the brain that the experience is real within the dream. These simple actions can prevent the dream from fading or collapsing suddenly. They are used by many experienced lucid dreamers to extend their time inside the dream. Even small movements or gestures can have a big effect on keeping the brain fully engaged with the dream simulation. Once the dreamer successfully stabilizes the dream, the environment can become incredibly vivid and detailed. The brain continues to generate images, sounds, and sensations automatically, but now the conscious mind can observe them more clearly. Dreamers report noticing small details they might not have seen before, such as the way light falls on a surface, the shape of objects, or subtle movements of people or animals. This heightened attention allows the dream world to feel almost as real as waking life. Some dreamers can walk through a city, examine buildings, or explore landscapes with an unusual clarity. Even small details, like leaves on trees or ripples in water, can appear in perfect detail. The combination of the brain's automatic creation and the dreamer's awareness makes the experience richer and more immersive than a normal dream. This is part of what makes lucid dreaming so fascinating and memorable. Some people notice that colors in lucid dreams appear brighter or more vivid than in real life. The brain can enhance visual information in ways that do not happen while awake. Reds may look deeper, blues more intense, and greens more vibrant. This is because the visual parts of the brain are highly active during REM sleep, creating rich images from memory and imagination. When combined with awareness, these colors seem even more intense. The dreamer may focus on a painting, a flower, or the sky, noticing details that feel extraordinary. This heightened visual experience makes the dream environment feel alive and surreal. Many lucid dreamers say that these vivid colors contribute to the sense that the dream is a separate, magical world. It shows how the mind can create experiences that are both realistic and enhanced, blending imagination with consciousness in a way that is rarely possible when awake. Some lucid dreamers report experiences that go beyond sight and sound. They can actually feel textures, temperature, and even wind as if they were awake. For example, they may reach out to touch a surface and feel it under their fingers. They might walk outside and feel a gentle breeze or notice the warmth of sunlight on their skin. These sensations happen even though the body is lying still in bed. The brain produces these feelings internally, creating a realistic simulation of touch, temperature, and movement. This shows how deeply the mind can recreate the world during sleep. Experiencing these sensations makes the dream environment feel alive and immersive. It also helps the dreamer stay focused, maintaining lucidity. By paying attention to touch and other physical feelings, the brain reinforces the sense of reality inside the dream. This is one reason why some lucid dreams can feel more intense than waking life, offering a full sensory experience while the body rests. One of the most famous and exciting experiences reported in lucid dreams is flying. Many dreamers describe the sensation of rising into the air, soaring over landscapes, or moving freely without support. Flying in a dream is different from jumping or falling. It is controlled and smooth, as if the dreamer can navigate the air like a bird. This ability is rare in waking life, which makes it especially thrilling. Scientists believe flying is common in lucid dreams because the brain is no longer limited by the rules of the physical world. The dreamer can test boundaries, move in new ways, and explore vertical space freely. Flying also often occurs early in a lucid dream, as the brain quickly realizes it can manipulate the dream environment. For many people, learning to fly becomes a favorite part of lucid dreaming. It provides a sense of freedom and control that is nearly impossible to experience while awake. Flying in lucid dreams may also happen because the brain's balance system is inactive during REM sleep. Normally, the inner ear and other balance organs help regulate movement in the physical world. They keep you upright, allow you to walk without falling, and maintain your sense of motion. However, during REM sleep, these systems are largely turned off. Without signals from the body telling the brain how to respond to gravity and movement, the mind is free to imagine new ways of moving. This makes unusual experiences like flying, floating, or gliding through space possible. The brain no longer enforces the limits of normal physics. Instead, it allows the dreamer to experience movement entirely through imagination. This is one reason lucid dreams can feel so realistic, yet still include impossible abilities that are thrilling to explore. Without normal physical limits, the brain allows movement in any direction. The dreamer can run faster than possible in real life, jump enormous distances, or change direction instantly. Walls, buildings, and other obstacles can be passed through or altered simply by expectation. The brain accepts these possibilities because the usual rules of motion and gravity are not active during REM sleep. The dreamer can test these limits, experiencing sensations like gliding over mountains or diving into water without risk. This freedom makes lucid dreaming uniquely empowering. Even when the brain is creating the environment automatically, awareness allows the dreamer to interact in ways that would be impossible while awake. Each action can be tested, repeated, and explored without danger. This combination of control and imagination is one of the reasons lucid dreams feel so extraordinary, and why people often remember them vividly. In lucid dreams, many people discover that movement is not limited to walking, running, or flying. Some dreamers experiment with teleporting from one place to another. Instead of traveling normally, they may simply imagine themselves standing somewhere new, and the dream responds immediately. One moment they are in a city street, and the next they are on a mountain top, a beach, or even an imaginary world that feels real. Teleporting often happens naturally once lucidity is achieved, because the brain is not constrained by normal physical rules. The dreamer's expectation can guide the environment instantly. This ability creates a sense of freedom and surprise. Dreamers often report that teleportation is one of the most exciting experiences in lucid dreaming. It shows how the mind can bypass normal movement limits and respond directly to intention. The brain's flexibility during REM sleep allows it to translate imagination into a vivid, interactive experience. It is as if the mind is reading your thoughts and creating the world around them immediately. Some lucid dreamers go even further by creating entire environments simply by expecting them to appear. They may imagine a building, a forest, or a magical city, and the dream seems to instantly materialize. This happens because the brain is highly responsive to conscious intention during lucidity. The areas of the brain responsible for generating images, emotions, and spatial environments work together with the parts that are self-aware. When expectation is combined with awareness, the mind can produce entire landscapes, structures, or scenarios that feel perfectly real. Dreamers describe watching a city appear as they walk, or flowers blooming as they step into a garden. This ability highlights the remarkable creative power of the human brain while dreaming. It shows that lucid dreaming is not just about observing events. It allows the mind to actively shape and explore the dream world, blurring the line between imagination and reality. The reason expectation and imagination work so strongly in dreams is because the brain is operating in a unique hybrid state. During REM sleep, the subconscious mind automatically produces the dream, including images, sounds, and movement. Once lucidity appears, the conscious mind begins to interact with this automatic creation. The brain interprets thoughts, intentions, and beliefs as instructions for the dream environment. If the dreamer expects a certain event or object, the brain often constructs it immediately. This shows that the human mind responds powerfully to expectation even while asleep. Researchers are fascinated by this because it demonstrates a unique combination of subconscious creativity and conscious control. The brain is essentially running a simulation that reacts to the dreamer's imagination, making it possible to explore worlds that are both vivid and entirely flexible. One of the clearest examples of this phenomenon is when a dreamer encounters a door or portal and believes it leads somewhere new. As soon as they open the door, the brain often creates the new location instantly. The environment may be detailed, with landscapes, structures, and even people appearing right away. This happens because the brain responds to the dreamer's belief and intention. If the mind expects a garden, a city, or a magical place, the dream produces it in real time. It shows that in lucid dreams, belief has a direct influence on perception. The dreamer does not need to imagine every detail consciously. The brain fills in the rest automatically. This creates an experience that feels effortless yet powerful. The door becomes a gateway to new possibilities, and the mind learns that its imagination can shape the dream world in ways that are impossible in waking life. Once a person realizes they are dreaming, lucid dreaming can become more than just observing. It becomes a form of interactive imagination. The dreamer is no longer just a passive participant. Instead, they can experiment, explore, and even shape the dream world through their thoughts and intentions. Every movement, action, or idea can influence the environment in real time. Flying, teleporting, creating new spaces, and interacting with dream characters all become possible. This turns the dream into a playground for the mind, where imagination and awareness work together. Unlike normal dreams, where events unfold automatically, lucid dreams allow conscious choices to guide the experience. The brain reacts to these choices, producing realistic responses that reinforce the illusion of reality. In this way, lucid dreaming demonstrates the incredible flexibility of human consciousness. It provides an opportunity to test creativity, practice skills, or simply enjoy a world that responds directly to thought, blending imagination with a remarkable sense of control and awareness. Many people who want to experience lucid dreams regularly use a method called reality testing. This is a simple but powerful technique. During the day, you ask yourself repeatedly, "Am I dreaming right now?" You may check clocks, read text, or look at your surroundings carefully. The goal is to make this questioning a habit so it becomes automatic. Over time, your mind begins to carry this habit into dreams. Eventually, when something unusual happens in a dream, the brain may trigger the same question. This can lead to a sudden realization that you are dreaming. Reality testing is one of the most widely recommended ways to increase the frequency of lucid dreams. By practicing awareness during waking life, you teach the mind to recognize the difference between real and dream environments. This creates opportunities for controlled and extended lucid experiences. The core of reality testing is self-reflection. You train your mind to notice details that normally go unquestioned. For example, You might look at your hands and ask if they appear normal, or try to push a finger through your palm. In waking life, these tests always behave in a predictable way. But when the same action occurs in a dream, something may feel odd. This discrepancy acts as a trigger for lucidity. The repeated habit during the day primes your brain to recognize these unusual moments while sleeping. It creates a bridge between conscious awareness in waking life and the hybrid state of the brain in REM sleep. Over weeks of practice, many people notice they can begin lucid dreams spontaneously without forcing themselves. The habit trains the brain to question reality automatically. The idea behind reality testing is simple but powerful. By consistently questioning your state of consciousness during the day, the habit carries into sleep. When the dreamer encounters a strange or impossible event, the brain automatically asks, "Am I dreaming?" This moment of self-questioning often sparks lucidity. The habit essentially teaches the mind to recognize inconsistencies inside dreams, turning unusual dream events into opportunities for awareness. For example, if text changes on a sign, gravity behaves strangely, or a person appears where they shouldn't, the brain can notice it and trigger lucidity. Over time, reality testing increases the chances of entering a lucid dream, making it a reliable method for those who want to explore this fascinating state of consciousness. By blending daytime awareness with the creative power of dreams, it opens the door to controlled, interactive experiences that feel real yet entirely flexible. Another popular method for inducing lucid dreams is called mild, which stands for mnemonic induction of lucid dreams. This technique focuses on setting a clear intention before going to sleep. The dreamer repeats a phrase or mental reminder, such as, "Tonight, I will realize I am dreaming." The purpose is to train the mind to recognize the dream state as it occurs. By repeating this intention, the brain begins to carry the thought into REM sleep. This method works because the brain responds strongly to repeated instructions or mental habits. When an unusual or impossible event occurs in the dream, the mind recalls the pre-sleep intention. That reminder can trigger lucidity. Many people combine mild with other techniques, like reality testing, to increase success. With consistent practice, the brain becomes more likely to recognize when it is dreaming. Mild is effective because it uses the power of memory, intention, and focus to guide awareness into the dream state. Another technique some lucid dreamers use is called wake back to bed. In this method, the person wakes up briefly during the night, usually after 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and then returns to bed. The brief period of wakefulness allows the mind to become more alert while the body remains ready to sleep. When the dreamer falls back asleep, they often enter REM sleep more quickly. Because the mind retains some waking awareness, it is easier to recognize when a dream starts. This significantly increases the chance of having a lucid dream. People often combine this with mild or reality testing for even better results. The method works because the brain is both rested and alert, creating ideal conditions for awareness to appear. It is considered one of the most reliable ways to trigger lucidity during sleep. The power of wake back to bed comes from timing the sleep cycle correctly. REM sleep, which produces vivid dreams, becomes longer and more frequent later in the night. By waking briefly and returning to bed, the dreamer targets this stage with a mind that is slightly alert. This combination of REM intensity and partial wakefulness improves the likelihood that lucidity will appear. During the first few minutes of falling back asleep, the brain often retains conscious awareness while dream images begin forming. This creates the perfect environment for a lucid dream. Dreamers report that the dreams during this time are often highly vivid, flexible, and interactive. By strategically adjusting sleep patterns, the brain can enter a state where awareness and dream creation coexist, providing a reliable opportunity to experience controlled and memorable lucid dreams. Both mild and wake back-to-bed techniques demonstrate how conscious intention can guide the sleeping mind. The brain responds to habits, repeated thoughts, and partial alertness, even during deep sleep. By combining intention with timing, dreamers increase the chances of noticing inconsistencies or impossible events in dreams. This allows them to trigger lucidity more frequently. These methods show that lucid dreaming is not purely random. It can be trained, practiced, and enhanced through mental focus and careful use of sleep patterns. People who consistently use these techniques often report longer, more vivid, and more controllable lucid dreams. Over time, the mind learns to recognize the dream state reliably, opening the door to fully interactive experiences where imagination and awareness work together seamlessly. One simple but surprisingly effective way to increase lucid dreams is to keep a dream journal. People who write down their dreams every morning are much more likely to experience lucidity. This is because recording dreams improves memory and awareness of the details in the dream world. When you write down what you remember, your brain starts paying more attention to dreams while they are happening. Over time, you begin to notice patterns, recurring places, people, or events in your dreams. Recognizing these patterns makes it easier to spot unusual moments that can trigger lucidity. The act of writing also reinforces the idea that dreams are important and worth noticing. Many experienced lucid dreamers report that keeping a journal is one of the most reliable ways to increase awareness during sleep. Even a few minutes of writing each day can strengthen the connection between conscious attention and dream perception, making it easier for the brain to recognize when it is dreaming. Writing dreams regularly not only improves recall, but also enhances awareness inside dreams. When you remember dreams better, your mind becomes more alert to strange or impossible events while dreaming. The brain starts noticing inconsistencies like changing clocks, shifting text, or floating objects. This awareness is crucial for triggering lucidity. A dream journal creates a habit of observation and reflection, training the mind to question experiences both while awake and asleep. Additionally, reviewing past dreams can reveal common dream signs or patterns unique to each person. Once these patterns are recognized, the brain is more likely to identify them in real time during a dream. This increased sensitivity makes it easier to maintain lucidity and interact consciously with the dream environment. Essentially, keeping a dream journal is like giving your brain a roadmap to awareness, connecting memory, attention, and imagination for a stronger lucid dream experience. Some people, especially athletes, have experimented with practicing real-world skills inside lucid dreams. Since lucid dreams allow conscious awareness and control, the mind can perform actions as if the body is moving. For example, athletes may practice swinging a golf club, shooting a basketball, or performing a gymnastics routine. The dream environment provides a safe space to rehearse movements, refine techniques, and explore strategies. Even though the physical body is asleep, the brain simulates these actions in a highly realistic way. The motor areas of the brain become active during the imagined movement, much like they would during actual practice. This makes lucid dreaming a unique training tool. Many athletes report that skill rehearsal in dreams can improve performance, coordination, and confidence when awake. It demonstrates the remarkable ability of the brain to combine imagination, awareness, and neural activation, turning dreams into a potential playground for physical and mental practice. The reason lucid dream practice can improve skills is that the brain simulates movement very realistically. When a person swings a bat or practices a dance in a lucid dream, the brain activates similar neural pathways as it would in real life. These pathways control muscle memory, coordination, and timing. Even though the body does not physically move, the mind is rehearsing the action. This repeated simulation strengthens the brain's understanding of the movement and can make actual performance smoother and more precise. Studies have shown that mental practice, including lucid dreaming, can improve athletic performance, musical skills, and other physical tasks. The combination of awareness, intention, and realistic simulation allows the dreamer to experiment without fatigue or risk of injury. This shows that lucid dreams are not only fascinating experiences, but also practical tools for training the mind and body in ways that are difficult or impossible to replicate while awake. Some people use lucid dreams to practice difficult conversations. These can be arguments, interviews, or emotionally charged talks. The dreamer can imagine the other person's responses and experiment with different ways to react. Because the brain simulates realistic scenarios, it feels almost like a rehearsal in real life. This allows the dreamer to prepare for tricky situations without real-world consequences. They can practice speaking calmly, choosing words carefully, or responding to unexpected reactions. The conscious awareness in the dream gives control over the scenario, so the dreamer can explore multiple outcomes. Over time, this practice can improve confidence and communication skills when awake. The brain responds to repeated mental rehearsal, strengthening thought patterns and reducing anxiety. Lucid dreaming provides a unique space where both imagination and reasoning work together, letting people rehearse challenging situations safely. It is like having a personal training ground inside your own mind, where mistakes don't matter, but learning is very real. Others use lucid dreaming to explore creative ideas, such as music, art, or storytelling. In a lucid dream, the mind is free to create without limits. A musician may compose a song, an artist may visualize a painting, or a writer may develop a story. The dream provides a vivid, interactive environment where ideas can be tested and refined. Colors, sounds, and textures feel real, allowing the creative process to be highly immersive. Unlike awake imagination, the brain can instantly visualize entire worlds, complex melodies, or intricate designs. Some people wake up with clear ideas or solutions that they can apply in real life. Lucid dreams can also combine unusual or impossible concepts, creating novel ideas that would be difficult to generate while awake. By consciously exploring creativity in dreams, the mind can unlock unique solutions, experiment with abstract thinking, and produce original ideas with full engagement of attention and sensory perception. Researchers have also studied lucid dreaming as a tool for overcoming recurring nightmares. Nightmares can be distressing and disrupt sleep, especially when they repeat. Lucid dreaming offers a way to regain control. When someone becomes aware during a nightmare, they can intervene and change the events. Instead of feeling powerless, the dreamer can face fears, escape danger, or alter the story in a positive way. This control reduces anxiety and can lessen the frequency of nightmares over time. Studies suggest that lucid dreaming helps people process traumatic or stressful experiences safely. The brain can rehearse coping strategies while remaining in the safe environment of the dream. Learning to recognize nightmares and respond consciously is a skill that can improve both sleep quality and mental health. It turns dreams from a source of fear into a space for empowerment and problem solving. When a dreamer becomes lucid during a nightmare, they can change the outcome in ways that feel immediate and impactful. For example, they might confront a threatening figure, fly away from danger, or transform frightening scenery into something comforting. By taking control, the brain reduces fear and signals that the nightmare is not real. This ability also strengthens self-confidence and emotional resilience. The dreamer practices active problem-solving within a safe environment. Over time, the brain learns that these situations can be handled, reducing the power of recurring nightmares. Changing the dream outcome provides a sense of empowerment and demonstrates how conscious awareness can influence the subconscious mind. This skill is particularly valuable for those with frequent nightmares or anxiety-related sleep disturbances. It shows that lucid dreaming is not only a space for adventure and creativity, but also a tool for psychological growth and emotional healing. In lucid dreams, the dreamer gains the ability to make choices instead of reacting automatically. For instance, instead of running from a monster or a threatening figure, the dreamer can pause, observe, and even confront it. This changes the dynamics of the dream entirely. The brain begins to process fear in a safe environment while the dreamer maintains awareness. By facing the source of fear, the dreamer experiences a sense of control and empowerment. This active engagement can transform the emotional impact of the dream. What once felt terrifying can become manageable or even neutral. The brain starts associating difficult situations with problem-solving rather than panic. Repeatedly practicing this in lucid dreams may help people respond more calmly to challenges in real life. It demonstrates the mind's ability to work through anxiety in a controlled, imaginative space. The dream becomes not just an experience, but a tool for emotional learning and resilience, blending awareness with subconscious processing in a remarkable way. Actively confronting fears in lucid dreams can significantly reduce the emotional power of recurring nightmares. When the dreamer repeatedly faces a frightening scenario instead of escaping, the brain begins to understand that these situations are not threatening in reality. This creates a form of mental rehearsal for handling fear. Over time, the intensity of similar nightmares often decreases. Even if the content of the dream repeats, the emotional response becomes less extreme. The brain learns that awareness and conscious action are possible even in terrifying situations. This helps improve confidence and reduces sleep-related anxiety. For people who struggle with recurring nightmares, lucid dreaming can act like a form of therapy. The dreamer practices coping strategies while the body sleeps safely in bed. By actively changing the outcome of fear-inducing dreams, the mind rewires how it reacts to stress. Lucid dreaming becomes a powerful tool to transform nightmares into manageable and even instructive experiences. In laboratory experiments, researchers have shown that lucid dreamers can actually communicate while dreaming. This might sound impossible, but scientists found a clever method to receive signals from the dreamer without waking them. Because the body is paralyzed during REM sleep, most movements are blocked, but eye movements are still possible. Researchers asked dreamers to move their eyes in specific patterns to indicate awareness. For example, looking left right could signal that they realized they were dreaming. These eye signals were recorded using special equipment while the dreamer remained fully asleep. This proved that conscious thought can be expressed in real time during a dream. It also allowed researchers to ask questions and receive responses from within the dream state. These experiments provide strong evidence that lucid dreaming is a hybrid state, combining self-awareness with the brain's automatic dream generation, making communication inside a dream possible. The eye movement signaling method works because the muscles controlling the eyes are not paralyzed during REM sleep, unlike most other muscles. This allows the dreamer to interact with the waking world without waking up. By following a pre-agreed pattern, researchers can confirm when the dreamer has become lucid. Sometimes dreamers are asked to perform a series of eye movements to indicate simple answers like yes or no. This shows that awareness and intention inside a dream can translate into measurable physical actions. It also allows scientists to study the content of lucid dreams in real time. The findings are groundbreaking because they prove that conscious thought is possible in a sleeping brain. Eye signaling opens a bridge between waking researchers and dreaming participants, providing a rare opportunity to observe how awareness, memory, and imagination work together during REM sleep. This method confirms that lucid dreaming is not only experiential, but also scientifically observable. The reason eye movements work in lucid dreaming is that the muscles controlling the eyes are not paralyzed during REM sleep. While most of the body is temporarily paralyzed to prevent acting out dreams, the eyes remain free to move. This unique feature allows dreamers to signal awareness without waking up. By following prearranged patterns, such as looking left, right, dreamers can communicate with scientists in real time. These movements are precise enough to record the exact moment the brain recognizes it is dreaming. This ability to move the eyes while asleep is rare among muscles and makes lucid dreams observable in a controlled experiment. It also shows how parts of the brain can remain active and intentional while other systems are at rest. The eyes become a bridge between the conscious mind inside the dream and the physical world outside, providing a way to study and measure awareness inside sleep scientifically. Using these eye movement signals, scientists were able to confirm the exact moment that lucidity begins. When the dreamer performed the agreed-upon eye pattern, it indicated that awareness had appeared within the dream. Researchers could then link brain activity recorded on scans to the precise moment of lucidity. This allowed them to study how consciousness emerges during REM sleep. Previously, understanding when a dreamer became aware was mostly based on self-reports after waking. Now, scientists could observe it in real time. This provided evidence that the brain can simultaneously create vivid dream experiences while allowing conscious thought to emerge. The findings also help researchers understand which parts of the brain reactivate during lucidity. Confirming the onset of lucidity is important because it shows that awareness is not random. It can appear at identifiable moments and can be studied systematically. Remarkably, some lucid dreamers were even able to answer simple math questions while dreaming. During experiments, researchers asked questions like, "What is 3 plus 4?" And the dreamer responded using the eye signaling system. The answers were correct, showing that the brain can perform reasoning and problem-solving tasks even while in REM sleep. This demonstrates that lucid dreaming is not only about awareness of the environment, but also about active cognitive processing. The mind can focus, calculate, and produce logical answers while still experiencing a dream world. It is as if thinking and dreaming are happening simultaneously. This challenges the old idea that the brain is offline during sleep. Instead, certain areas responsible for thought, attention, and reasoning remain active, especially during lucid dreams. The brain's ability to process information while asleep opens exciting possibilities for learning, problem-solving, and mental rehearsal within dreams. These experiments suggest that thinking and reasoning can continue during lucid dreaming in ways similar to wakefulness. The brain is able to handle logic, calculations, and decision-making, even while the body is completely at rest. This shows that the mind can be highly active and aware in a controlled, self-directed way during sleep. Lucid dreamers can plan actions, solve problems, or experiment with new ideas in real time. The dream world becomes a stage for cognitive exploration, where imagination and rational thought coexist. Researchers are fascinated because it proves that consciousness is flexible and can function in multiple modes. The ability to reason while dreaming also supports applications like practicing skills, rehearsing conversations, or exploring creative ideas. Essentially, lucid dreaming shows that the brain is capable of maintaining awareness, thought, and action, all while generating an immersive and interactive dream environment that feels completely real. A fascinating question about lucid dreaming is whether time moves differently in dreams. Many people assume that dreams can feel like they last hours, days, or even years. But in reality, the perception of time may not be as distorted as it seems. Some dreams do feel long because the mind is fully immersed in vivid experiences, exploring detailed environments or interacting with multiple characters. The events can feel emotionally intense or complex, making it seem like more time has passed. However, researchers have wanted to find out if the brain's actual processing speed is different during sleep. By studying lucid dreamers and measuring specific tasks, scientists can test whether subjective dream time matches objective time. Understanding time perception in dreams is important because it helps reveal how the brain organizes sequences, plans events, and processes information while asleep. It also gives insight into how the conscious and subconscious mind interact during lucid dreaming. Experiments with lucid dreamers have shown that dream time is surprisingly close to real time. Scientists ask dreamers to perform specific tasks, like counting seconds or performing repeated movements, while in a lucid dream. When the researchers compared the time it took to complete these tasks in the dream versus when awake, the results were almost identical. This finding challenges the common idea that dreams are a chaotic time warp. Instead, the brain appears to simulate real-world timing very accurately. This suggests that even in an imaginative and flexible dream world, the brain keeps an internal sense of pacing. The perception of time passing slowly or quickly in dreams may come from emotional intensity, complexity of events, or attention to details rather than actual differences in processing speed. It highlights how the brain maintains a structure and rhythm during REM sleep. In one experiment, dreamers were asked to count seconds inside a lucid dream, while scientists measured the timing externally. Surprisingly, the duration of their counting matched real-world measurements almost exactly. For example, if a dreamer counted 10 seconds in the dream, it took roughly the same 10 seconds in waking life. This shows that the brain's sense of duration and timing is consistent even while generating a completely simulated experience. It suggests that the mechanisms responsible for internal clocks and timing remain active and accurate during REM sleep. The ability to perform tasks in a time-accurate way indicates that lucid dreams are more than random imagination. They follow logical sequences, pacing, and cause-effect relationships similar to real life. This makes lucid dreaming not only immersive but also structured, giving dreamers a sense of continuity and realism that mirrors waking experiences. This research indicates that the brain runs dream events at nearly the same speed as reality. Even when the dream world is fantastical, the progression of actions, movement, and sequences aligns with waking timing. Whether walking, flying, or solving problems, the brain maintains a consistent sense of time. This may help the mind process information, rehearse skills, or experiment with scenarios effectively. The brain's internal clock continues to operate while generating complex dream environments and experiences. For lucid dreamers, this means that actions taken in the dream, like practicing a skill or performing a task, are executed with realistic timing, which can enhance learning and rehearsal. It also explains why dreams feel both immersive and coherent, despite being entirely imagined. The brain's ability to simulate time accurately shows the remarkable precision of conscious and subconscious processes working together during lucid dreams, making them feel real while still offering a safe space for exploration. In many lucid dreams, people report encountering dream characters who respond intelligently. These characters can appear as friends, strangers, or completely imaginary beings, yet they often act as if they have their own thoughts and personalities. Dreamers can speak with them, ask questions, or observe their behavior. Sometimes the interactions feel very realistic, almost like talking to another conscious person. This occurs because the brain is capable of simulating complex social behavior, even while generating a fully imagined environment. The dream characters are not conscious in the real sense, but the brain creates responses that follow social patterns, emotions, and reasoning. These interactions can be entertaining, thought-provoking, or even emotionally meaningful. Lucid dreamers often find that talking with these characters provides insights or perspectives they might not consider while awake. This phenomenon highlights the brain's ability to construct entire social worlds internally, demonstrating its creative and problem-solving power during REM sleep. Interestingly, these dream characters often behave unpredictably, even though they are entirely generated by the dreamer's brain. While the brain is responsible for creating them, their actions and dialogue can surprise the dreamer. Characters may refuse to answer questions, move in unexpected ways, or introduce new elements into the dream environment. This unpredictability happens because the subconscious mind contributes ideas and associations that the conscious mind is not aware of. The result is a mix of creativity and randomness that makes the dream feel alive. Even experienced lucid dreamers can be caught off guard by what these characters say or do. This unpredictability keeps the dream engaging and makes it feel real. It also demonstrates that the brain can generate complex, semi-autonomous simulations that go beyond simple imagination. Dream characters are essentially expressions of the mind exploring social dynamics, memory, and creativity in an interactive way. Many lucid dreamers find that asking dream characters questions produces surprising answers. When a dreamer talks to a character about advice, future plans, or personal issues, the responses can be unexpected yet meaningful. The brain may combine memories, knowledge, and subconscious ideas to generate answers that feel insightful. Sometimes these responses reveal hidden thoughts, forgotten details, or creative solutions. The dream world acts as a testing ground for ideas, where the brain can explore possibilities without limits. Even though the characters are not conscious, they serve as a tool for the dreamer's mind to process information and gain perspective. Asking questions becomes a way to access the subconscious, uncovering associations that might remain hidden during waking life. This makes lucid dreams a unique environment for problem-solving, reflection, and creativity, where even imaginary beings can provide surprising guidance. The reason dream characters can give such unexpected responses is that the brain is accessing hidden memories or associations. When interacting with these characters, the mind draws from stored experiences, knowledge, and emotions to produce dialogue and actions. Some information may be forgotten in waking life, but becomes accessible in dreams. The subconscious contributes ideas that the conscious mind might not recognize, combining them with imagination to create realistic interactions. This process can reveal insights about feelings, relationships, or problems that have not been consciously considered. It is like having a hidden library of thoughts and memories that becomes active in the dream state. By talking to dream characters, the brain essentially reorganizes this information in novel ways. Lucid dreaming allows awareness to explore these hidden aspects safely, making dream characters not only entertaining, but also tools for self-discovery and understanding. Sometimes, even lucid dreamers can forget they are dreaming, at least for a brief moment. Dream environments can feel so vivid, detailed, and real that the mind temporarily accepts them as reality. Colors, textures, sounds, and sensations are fully immersive, and the brain interprets them as if they were happening in the waking world. A dreamer might walk through a city, talk to people, or explore nature and feel completely certain that it is real. This shows just how convincing the brain's simulations can be. Even though the person has achieved lucidity before, the dream can pull them back into automatic thinking. Moments like these are natural and illustrate the balance between conscious awareness and the brain's deep imaginative power. They remind us that lucidity is fragile and requires ongoing attention. The realistic quality of dreams highlights how the brain combines sensory memory, imagination, and reasoning to create a fully immersive experience that can temporarily mimic reality itself. It's important to understand that, despite the name, lucid dreamers don't always have complete control over the dream world. Being aware that you are dreaming does not automatically give the ability to fly, teleport, or change scenery at will. Sometimes the dream continues unfolding according to the subconscious mind's plan. External events or dream characters may act independently, and the dreamer may feel limited in what they can influence. Control often depends on experience, practice, and mental focus. New lucid dreamers may notice they can observe the dream and make small changes, but larger or more dramatic shifts can be difficult. This distinction between awareness and control is a key part of understanding lucid dreaming. Awareness lets the dreamer recognize the dream state, but control is a skill that develops gradually through techniques like stabilizing the dream, expectation, and repeated practice. Lucid dreaming is a balance between observation and influence, rather than total mastery. Awareness and control are actually two different abilities in lucid dreams. Awareness is simply knowing, I am dreaming. Control, on the other hand, is the ability to actively influence the dream world, changing objects, flying, or creating new environments. A person may be fully aware they are dreaming, but find it difficult to modify what is happening. This separation shows that the brain can maintain self-recognition without necessarily overriding its own automated dream generation. Developing control often requires techniques such as focusing attention, engaging the senses, or repeating intentions. Both abilities can improve with practice, but awareness usually comes first. Recognizing this difference helps lucid dreamers understand their experiences better. It also prevents frustration when the dream doesn't respond perfectly. Awareness allows the dreamer to observe and learn, while control allows experimentation and interaction with the dream's flexible world. Some lucid dreamers notice that they are aware they are dreaming but cannot change the environment. For example, a person may realize they are in a dream while walking through a city, but buildings, people, and events continue as if on autopilot. Attempts to fly, move objects, or teleport may fail, at least at first. This happens because control requires active focus, belief, and mental practice. The subconscious mind often dominates dream creation, and conscious influence must compete with these automatic processes. Even in these situations, lucidity provides unique opportunities. The dreamer can still observe, experiment with small changes, or interact with dream characters. Over time, repeated experiences can strengthen control. This distinction between awareness and control reminds us that lucid dreaming is a skill, not a switch. It is a learning process where observation, patience, and mental focus gradually allow conscious influence over an otherwise automatic dream world. Some lucid dreamers notice that they can influence certain elements of a dream but not everything. For instance, they might be able to fly, change the color of the sky, or move a few objects, but other parts of the environment continue to behave on their own. Dream characters may act independently, and events may follow unexpected paths. This happens because the brain generates dreams using a combination of conscious awareness and automatic processes. Even when the dreamer has control over some things, the subconscious mind continues to create scenes, dialogue, and scenarios automatically. The result is a mix of influence and unpredictability. Learning to navigate this balance is part of developing lucid dreaming skills. With practice, dreamers often expand their control over larger aspects of the dream, but complete mastery is rare. The experience shows that lucid dreaming is a collaboration between conscious intention and the brain's natural storytelling, making the dream world dynamic, surprising, and highly engaging. Even when a dreamer has some control, the dream still follows the brain's automatic storytelling process. Dreams are constructed by the subconscious mind, which creates scenarios, characters, and events based on memories, emotions, and imagination. While a lucid dreamer can observe or adjust certain details, the underlying story often continues on its own path. This is why dreams can feel coherent yet unpredictable, blending conscious choices with automated narrative. For example, a dreamer might decide to fly over a city, but the city streets and people continue moving according to the brain's programming. The automatic storytelling ensures that dreams remain immersive and emotionally rich. It also means that lucid dreaming is not just about control. It is about interaction with a living, evolving environment. Understanding this helps lucid dreamers accept unpredictability and focus on small changes, or stabilizing the dream rather than trying to dictate every detail. Most lucid dreams are surprisingly short, often lasting less than 10 minutes. Even though dreams may feel much longer, the brain experiences them within a relatively brief real-world time. This short duration is partly due to the natural cycles of REM sleep, which come in phases throughout the night. Lucid dreaming often occurs during the later REM stages, but sustaining awareness can be challenging. The brain may shift attention, or the dreamer's excitement may interfere with focus, ending the lucid state quickly. Many people notice that their first lucid dreams are brief, sometimes just long enough to fly, interact with a character, or test control over a small part of the environment. Over time, practice with techniques like stabilizing the dream or engaging the senses can extend the duration. Understanding that lucid dreams are naturally short helps manage expectations and encourages focus on quality and clarity, rather than simply trying to make the dream last longer. One reason lucid dreams often end quickly is that strong emotions like excitement can wake the dreamer. Discovering lucidity can trigger intense feelings, surprise, joy, or even fear, that can cause the body to partially awaken. The brain becomes alert, and the connection to the dream weakens, leading to the dream fading or ending entirely. For this reason, experienced lucid dreamers learn to remain calm when realizing they are dreaming. Techniques such as slowly rubbing hands, focusing on details, or steady breathing help maintain lucidity despite emotional reactions. Controlling emotional intensity allows the dreamer to stay immersed and interact with the environment for longer periods. This is why emotional management is considered one of the most important skills for stable lucid dreams. By learning to stay composed, the brain continues generating the dream world while awareness remains active, making the experience richer and more controllable. Sometimes, lucid dreams end simply because the brain shifts out of REM sleep. REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, is the stage when vivid dreaming occurs and the brain is highly active. When the body transitions into another sleep stage, such as deep slow-wave sleep, the mechanisms that support dreaming reduce activity. Conscious awareness fades because the brain is no longer producing the intense sensory and emotional signals needed for the dream. This shift can happen naturally, even if the dreamer is calm and focused. It shows that lucid dreaming is tied closely to the brain's sleep cycles and cannot last indefinitely. Understanding this helps dreamers accept why lucid dreams sometimes end abruptly. It's not a failure of skill or focus. Rather, it's the brain following its natural rhythm. Recognizing this can help lucid dreamers plan practices or techniques for maximizing dream stability during active REM periods, while respecting the limits set by the body's natural sleep patterns. As a lucid dream begins to fade, the dream environment may darken or dissolve. Buildings, landscapes, or objects may blur, lose color, or break apart. Characters may disappear, and the sense of space can become distorted. These changes signal that the brain is reducing the activity that sustains the dream's vividness. Sometimes, the dreamer may notice these shifts and try to stabilize the dream by touching objects, spinning, or focusing on details. But often the fading is inevitable. The brain's transition out of REM sleep gradually removes the sensory and emotional input that makes the dream feel real. Even as the scene dissolves, the mind often retains awareness of the experience, creating a sense of continuity between the dream world and waking reality. Observing this fading process can be fascinating, highlighting how dreams are active constructions of the brain that rely on very specific conditions to exist. Eventually, the lucid dreamer wakes up, often remembering the experience in remarkable detail. Unlike ordinary dreams, lucid dreams tend to be easier to recall because of the conscious awareness present during the dream. The emotions, sights, sounds, and interactions are often vivid, leaving a strong impression on memory. Many people report remembering not only the events, but also the sense of awareness and control they experienced. This detailed recall allows reflection, journaling, or even using the dream for problem-solving or creative inspiration. Waking from a lucid dream can feel like returning from a fully immersive adventure. The brain's memory systems capture these experiences because attention and awareness were active during the dream, unlike in regular dreams where details can fade quickly. This makes lucid dreaming a unique intersection of imagination, consciousness, and memory, providing experiences that feel as real and meaningful as waking life. Despite decades of research, scientists still don't fully understand why dreams exist at all. There are many theories, but no definitive answer. Some suggest dreams help process emotions or consolidate memories. Others think dreams allow the brain to practice problem solving, rehearse scenarios, or maintain neural connections during sleep. Lucid dreaming adds another layer of mystery because it demonstrates that awareness can emerge in a state the brain designed for unconscious processing. Why the mind invents entire worlds, characters, and narratives each night is still largely unknown. Dreams may serve multiple purposes simultaneously: emotional, cognitive, and creative, but proving these functions scientifically is challenging. Studying lucid dreaming helps scientists explore consciousness, memory, and imagination in ways that were previously impossible. The fact that awareness, Reasoning and even communication are possible in dreams raises fascinating questions about the nature of the mind, reality, and the brain's ability to simulate life while we sleep. It is one of the brain's deepest mysteries. Some researchers believe that dreams help process emotions. During waking life, people experience stress, joy, fear, and countless other feelings. The brain may use dreaming as a way to work through these emotions safely while the body sleeps. For example, upsetting events or worries can appear in dreams, allowing the mind to explore, understand, and sometimes reduce emotional intensity. Positive experiences may also be reinforced or replayed in a safe, controlled environment. This emotional processing could explain why dreams often involve strong feelings or situations that feel meaningful. In lucid dreams, because the dreamer is aware, they may even influence or explore these emotional scenarios consciously. This gives a rare opportunity to interact with feelings in a controlled way, potentially reducing anxiety or clarifying emotional conflicts. Dreams may act like the brain's natural therapy sessions, working behind the scenes to organize emotional experiences while we rest. Another idea is that dreams help organize memories. While we sleep, the brain is busy sorting through the information we collected during the day. Important experiences are strengthened, connections are made between ideas, and unneeded details may be discarded. Dreams may help combine memories in creative ways, connecting events, people, and knowledge that seem unrelated while awake. Lucid dreaming adds an extra layer to this process because the dreamer is aware of the memory activity happening in real time. Being conscious during a dream doesn't stop the brain from processing memories. It allows a glimpse into how experiences are being organized, combined, or even rehearsed. This could explain why dream environments sometimes include past events, familiar faces, or imagined scenarios that feel meaningful. The process of memory organization during dreams might support learning, problem solving, and emotional regulation, all while the body rests and recharges. Lucid dreaming might represent the rare moment when awareness briefly observes that memory and emotional processing happening in the brain. In most dreams, the mind is fully absorbed in the story without realizing it is dreaming. Lucid dreaming interrupts this automatic flow, allowing consciousness to notice what the brain is doing. The dreamer can sometimes observe how events unfold, how memories are integrated, or how emotions are expressed. This self-aware perspective is unique because it turns the mind into both the creator and the observer of its own experience. It's like watching the brain rehearse its work while being conscious at the same time. This glimpse into subconscious activity makes lucid dreaming fascinating to scientists and dreamers alike. It highlights the brain's complexity and shows that even in sleep, consciousness can emerge to watch, learn, and interact with its own internal processes. In essence, lucid dreaming can be described as consciousness watching the mind while it dreams. The dreamer experiences the dream world while simultaneously recognizing it is a creation of their own brain. This dual role allows them to explore, influence, and observe the dream at the same time. Conscious awareness acts like a spectator inside a theater, noticing the story, characters, and emotions unfolding on stage. Meanwhile, the subconscious continues generating the dream environment automatically. This phenomenon provides a rare window into the workings of the mind, where imagination, memory, emotion, and awareness all coexist. Lucid dreaming demonstrates that consciousness is flexible and capable of observing even processes that are normally automatic. It is a remarkable state where the brain both performs and monitors its own intricate activity, offering insight into how the mind functions during sleep and revealing the surprising depth of human awareness. Every night, the brain quietly builds entire worlds while we sleep. Even though we are unconscious, the brain is highly active, creating landscapes, characters, stories, and sensations in intricate detail. These dream worlds are constructed from memories, imagination, and emotions, often combining them in ways that never occur in waking life. The brain designs these experiences to feel immersive and real, giving us a sense of space, movement, and interaction. Most of the time, we are fully absorbed in the dream, unaware of the construction process happening behind the scenes. This shows just how complex and creative the sleeping mind can be. It can generate an entire world complete with sounds, sights, and even emotions, all without conscious effort. Understanding this highlights the amazing capacity of the human brain to create, simulate, and experience reality internally, even while the body rests safely in bed, preparing for the next day. For most people, we simply experience these dream worlds without realizing how they were made. The immersive quality of dreams keeps us fully engaged, and we often accept the events as real while asleep. This absorption explains why we rarely question impossible occurrences in dreams, such as flying, changing locations instantly, or talking to imagined characters. The brain generates these experiences automatically, handling everything from visual detail to emotional tone. We navigate the environment, interact with characters, and react to events naturally, unaware that our mind is both the artist and the audience. The lack of conscious interference allows dreams to flow freely and vividly. Because we usually do not have lucidity, we are fully inside the dream, experiencing sensations, emotions, and narrative as though they are happening in the real world. This natural immersion demonstrates the power of the brain to simulate life while asleep, keeping us engaged and sometimes surprised by the results. But sometimes, awareness appears inside the dream, creating what we call a lucid dream. In these rare moments, the dreamer realizes that the world around them is being generated by their own mind. This awareness can emerge suddenly, triggered by unusual events, inconsistencies, or intentional training. When consciousness enters the dream, it adds a new layer of experience, blending observation with imagination. The dreamer becomes capable of noticing details, interacting more intentionally, and sometimes changing aspects of the environment. This appearance of awareness provides a unique window into the brain's processes, allowing insight into both the subconscious and conscious mind at the same time. It highlights the flexibility of the human mind and demonstrates that even during deep sleep, consciousness can emerge to observe, interact with, and influence the dream world, creating experiences that feel remarkably real. During these moments, the dreamer becomes both the observer and the creator. Awareness allows them to notice the environment, analyze events, and even make decisions about what happens next. At the same time, the subconscious continues to generate scenes, characters, and storylines automatically. The dreamer can experiment, solve problems, practice skills, or explore creative ideas in a controlled space that feels real. This dual role is unique to lucid dreaming because it combines self-awareness with active imagination. The mind is simultaneously creating and monitoring its own experiences, blending subconscious power with conscious intention. These fleeting moments give insight into how flexible and creative the brain can be, showing that even during sleep, humans are capable of observation, exploration, and influence over their own internal worlds. Lucid dreaming becomes a rare experience where imagination and awareness meet. This rare state of lucid dreaming reveals something fascinating about the mind. It shows that consciousness is not completely shut down during sleep. Even when the body is resting, the mind can awaken in small, powerful ways. Lucid dreaming allows awareness to emerge within a fully imagined environment, highlighting the flexibility of human consciousness. It demonstrates that the brain can support multiple modes of experience at once, both automatic and self-aware. This dual function is unique and remarkable, giving insight into how thought, imagination, and awareness interact. Scientists study lucid dreaming to understand the limits and potential of the human mind. And for dreamers, it provides a window into creativity, problem-solving, and self-exploration. Observing how the mind operates in this state helps reveal hidden abilities, showing that even while asleep, the brain remains active, adaptable, and capable of experiences that feel almost as real as waking life. Even while the body rests, the brain remains capable of extraordinary imagination. While we sleep, neurons fire in complex patterns, generating vivid images, sounds, and sensations. The mind combines memories, emotions, and creativity to produce entire worlds that feel immersive and interactive. Lucid dreaming adds a layer of conscious involvement, allowing the dreamer to guide, explore, or reflect on these creations. This demonstrates that imagination is not confined to waking life. It operates continuously, even when energy consumption and physical activity are minimal. The brain's ability to simulate complex scenarios, maintain sensory detail, and respond emotionally shows how sophisticated neural processes are. Dreaming, especially lucid dreaming, illustrates that the mind is always working, capable of generating experiences that can rival or even surpass waking reality in richness and complexity. It is a remarkable proof of the brain's creative power. During dreams, entire landscapes, people, and stories emerge from neural activity alone. Mountains, cities, forests, and oceans appear in vivid detail without any external input. Characters with distinct personalities, voices, and behaviors interact with the dreamer as if they exist independently. The brain generates narratives that include events, challenges, and dialogue, often combining real-life experiences with imagination. All of this happens through patterns of neuron firing, chemical signals, and network connections, demonstrating the brain's incredible ability to simulate reality internally. Even complicated scenarios, like flying through a futuristic city or talking to unknown characters, are created entirely by the mind. Lucid dreaming allows awareness to step into this internal simulation and interact with it, offering a first-hand experience of the brain's capacity to invent, organize, and sustain complex virtual worlds while the body sleeps. And occasionally, we get the chance to explore those worlds consciously. In lucid dreaming, awareness allows the dreamer to navigate, interact, and experiment within these fully generated environments. They can walk through imagined cities, meet dream characters, or test creative ideas while the subconscious continues generating scenes automatically. This conscious participation makes the dream world feel alive and responsive. It provides a unique opportunity to observe and engage with the brain's creative processes in real time. Exploring these worlds consciously can offer insight into emotions, problem-solving, and imagination that is not possible during ordinary dreaming. Lucid dreaming is like stepping inside the mind's own virtual reality, where experiences are vivid, interactive, and shaped by both the dreamer's intention and the subconscious mind. It is a rare window into the extraordinary abilities of the human brain. Lucid dreaming reminds us that the boundary between reality and imagination can become surprisingly thin. In dreams, the brain creates experiences that feel real, with sights, sounds, emotions, and interactions that can fully immerse us. When awareness emerges, even for a moment, it highlights how close the mind can bring imagination to reality. Flying, talking to dream characters, or altering the environment can feel as vivid as waking life. This thin boundary shows that perception is not always tied to the physical world, but is strongly shaped by the brain's activity. Lucid dreaming teaches that consciousness is flexible and can recognize when experiences are self-generated. It also shows that the brain can create entire worlds, complete with logic, rules, and surprises that seem believable even though they exist only inside the mind. Experiencing this thin line between imagination and reality can feel thrilling, mysterious, and deeply insightful, revealing how extraordinary the human mind really is. Every night, the mind gets another quiet opportunity to explore itself. During REM sleep, the brain runs simulations, recalls memories, processes emotions, and creates rich experiences. Most of these processes happen without our conscious awareness, but they provide a chance for the brain to rehearse, problem solve, or experiment safely. Lucid dreaming, when it occurs, allows awareness to step into this process. The dreamer can explore their imagination, interact with memories, or confront emotions in a controlled environment. These nightly journeys offer insight into the mind's creativity, memory networks, and emotional processing. Even if we do not remember dreams, the brain is constantly working behind the scenes. Each night is an opportunity for learning, reflection, and exploration on a level that we rarely access consciously. Lucid dreaming simply allows the observer inside to notice and participate in this ongoing internal activity, revealing how active and complex the sleeping brain truly is. For the most part, we won't notice these nightly processes. Ordinary dreams flow automatically, and the mind accepts the scenarios as real while we sleep. We often forget the details upon waking, and awareness does not usually emerge. Our brains are performing complex operations, organizing memories, processing emotions, simulating social interactions, without requiring conscious input. Lucid dreaming is rare precisely because awareness is not normally active during this stage. Most nights, the mind quietly builds worlds, tells stories, and practices skills without us realizing it. This invisibility highlights the power of the unconscious mind. Even if we are unaware, these processes can influence learning, creativity, and emotional regulation in waking life. The sleeping brain is constantly at work, creating immersive experiences that are mostly invisible, yet essential for maintaining cognitive and emotional balance. But once in a while, somewhere in the middle of a dream, awareness might appear again, and the dream will suddenly feel different. A strange realization, I am dreaming, can appear, changing how the dreamer perceives the world. Colors may feel brighter, details sharper, and interactions more vivid. Suddenly, the dream is no longer just a story unfolding automatically. It becomes a playground for conscious exploration. The dreamer can experiment, interact with characters, or manipulate the environment. This fleeting moment is often exciting, surprising, and full of curiosity. It reminds us that the mind is capable of observing itself and creating in real time, even while asleep. Lucid dreaming shows that consciousness can emerge at any moment, transforming ordinary dreams into extraordinary experiences that blur the line between reality and imagination, giving a rare glimpse into the creative power of the brain.